Watson, nurse practitioner, coming to you today to discuss caffeine. Disclaimer, this is not medical advice, recommendations, or a diagnosis. This does not take the place of a visit with your healthcare provider. If you have any questions, please reach out to your healthcare provider for further clarification. So caffeine, we've kind of been discussing it on and off on social media here the last week or so, and about how you should not consume caffeine on an empty stomach, and in its relation to cortisol levels. We as an American society grow up seeing, your grandparents and your parents make that pot of coffee in the morning, and that's the first thing they do. Society displays this persona that once you get up, the first thing you need is your cup of coffee. And then we as Americans over time have, saturated it with fake sugar and unhealthy fats, and it becomes a meal, an unhealthy meal by the time that we get through with it. And many people do it black, and that's perfect, but for the most part, we just pour all the bad things in because it tastes really good, and then, like I said, it becomes this huge unhealthy meal. But what I want to talk about is how you should consume your caffeine after you have eaten. So caffeine increases your heart rate, it sets off an adrenaline response, and then that sets off a cortisol response. And we do make the most cortisol in the morning, and so it starts really high and it fades off throughout the day so we can get a healthy night's sleep. If you are ramming up your adrenal glands in the morning and they're producing adrenaline, and then that produces, an influx of cortisol, and then your body has to react to that to try to tone it back down, because remember, cortisol is your natural response to adrenaline. So it is your natural fight or flight. When you get in those situations where your adrenaline shoots up, a car wreck, then your cortisol comes in to bring it back down so you can settle back down. But if we are doing this without, in an unnatural state, so to speak, it wreaks havoc on our system, wreaks havoc on our adrenal glands. And what happens is we just ram up our system, so to speak, throughout the day, or first thing in the morning. Our cortisol comes in and tries to shut it down, which increases our cortisol production. Then you hit mid-afternoon, and especially after you eat, and what happens? You get sleepy, you get tired, your body has been fighting all day long. It's been working within all day long, and midday you're like, I need my cup of coffee again. I need something to get me through. I have to finish my job. I have to go home and tend to my kids or make dinner and do all of our sports activities. I have a whole day, like many hours left to do things, and I can't function. I am tired. So we pour ourselves another cup of coffee. We grab an energy drink, whatever your thing is, and we start the cycle all over again. And this cycle works really well for us, right? It works really well until it doesn't work really well, or until we wake up in 4 or 5 months and we've put on 15 pounds, or we wake up in 4 or 5 months and we're not sleeping well at night, and our blood pressure is high and our brain is foggy. All of these things add up. So yes, you can help it. No, it's not going to change overnight, but I challenge you to think about how you consume your caffeine. I'm not saying you can't have caffeine, but I want you to think about how you consume it, and if you consume it in a healthy way. So do you eat before you take it? Do you avoid the midday caffeine need? Are you sleeping well at night? Those are the big things that you need to focus on and think about. And if you need further clarification or you want to know more information, remember my cortisol class is live. You can sign up and take that. I go into much more detail about it, but I hope you can take some pointers from this caffeine video and implement it in your life and have a much better wake-sleep cycle, much better or much clearer function, and all the energy in the world.